Welcome back for another book review. Today we are talking about this one. So this is the Holy Wild Grimoire, a heathen handbook of magic, spells, and verses by Danielle Dulsky, butchering names, but she is the author of the Holy Wild. This is like kind of attached to it, I assume, but at the same time I haven't read that one. So not having read the other one, I got through this just fine. I don't know if you should read the other one first, but this is the one that I found at the library, so I figured why not read it. So this book is very similar to The Journey to the Dark Goddess by Jane Meredith, I think is the author's name. So this goes through a myth. Now in Journey to the Dark Goddess, it kind of stuck with the same theme. This one kind of bounces around a bit. Like you have like Dear Woman, you have a lot from, I think it's mostly Irish, but I could be wrong. It might be Welsh in there too. I don't really know. But it's like different aspects of the goddess. So like you have like Macha. I know I'm saying it wrong. But that aspect of the Morrigan, a lot of times they're associated with the Morrigan. But she is like the horse aspect, who she ends up having twins and then dies. That story, that one's in here. There's also like Maeve? That's how I read it. I know that's probably not how it's pronounced, but she's kind of like a fairy goddess, but like not like a fairy godmother, like fairy goddess. And then there's like a crone aspect one. So we're kind of all over the place, honestly. So this just goes through more so instead of a journey, like Journey with the Dark Goddess, this one goes through and you make books. So it's like a shadow work kind of a book, but you go through your own story along with this story, and like there's a lot of journal prompts and things to try out and to do that are related to it. Now each of the books is related to the elements, so you go through and they're all themed around that particular element, including spirit. And so that's kind of the main point of this, is it's very much like a shadow work style of work. Personally, I'm kind of intrigued. If I found it out in the wild, pun intended, then I would probably grab it. But like, you might not. It just kind of depends, because this is a very particular style that not everyone's gonna love. So this is very heavy into feminist reclaiming style. It's very woman focused, which is fine. But just like, for me personally, I don't like being categorized that much for that alone. And like the idea of what a woman is kind of bothers me. Inevitably, it always circles back to you being a mom. And that just, it kind of gets old. And some of the bits in here, like, it does bother me. And it'll be like, oh, well, your line of your lineage, your relations to everybody. And it's like, so what about adoptions? Like, that's not a new thing. And again, I know it's not my own personal chip on the shoulder, but like, it just bothers me when authors do that. Because it's like, why couldn't you just say, like, the ancestors? Or, like, your kindred, you know? Like, the kindred souls of your family line or something. Like, just the fact that it has to be, like, your blood relation. It's their DNA in your blood, and you're like, cool. But, like, not everyone has a great family to come through. And, like, again, adoptions are a thing. So, like, why? Like, I know it's a personal random little chip, but, like, it was just very heavily focused on that, and like there was so many pregnancy birth things in here that it was like, okay. And just like, again, their viewpoint of what feminine is, where like the first story, and I think there might have been another one too, actually quite a few of them, was like this thing where like as a woman you heal the man with what's between your legs, and you're like, really? Like, you couldn't, you know, like talk to him, you know, give him confidence through conversation? No? Okay. Like, it's just, don't love that part of it. And then also, again, it's very, like, it reads like slam poetry. So, like, that's a whole thing, too. So, like, imagine, like, the feminist slam poetry, but, like, with a pagan overtone. That is this book. Now, some people totally love slam poetry. I, myself, can sometimes handle it. But a lot of times it's a little old. Like, this is very flowery but loud language as you read. And it reads, if you've never experienced slam poetry, like, you need to just go look it up, go find a video. It's everywhere. Like, that, how they read it is how I read this book. Like, I don't know if that's how the author intended it, but like, there's a specific rhythm and like the way they like enunciate all of the words. That's how I read this book. So like, if you don't love that style, you're probably not gonna love this. I was kind of indifferent to it, and like, honestly, after some of the other books I had just read, because I took a sick day, I took a reading day, so like, this was my final book, so I was like, oh, this is pretty good actually in comparison. But that slam poetry style, some people are just not gonna love. The last thing that I wanted to talk about is the stories themselves that are in here. The first couple were really good. Sucked you right in. You're like, oh my god, this is good. Like, this is how myth telling should be. And then it progressively got less and less. They shortened as you went, and then it also just didn't become as impactful. And like, there was one where it, like, the imagery of it is just like this crazed lady sitting on a like tombstone, just chilling in like a cemetery, all creepy, and like, you're gonna walk up and chit chat with her, and you're like, I'm digging this. This is kind of cool. But then it progressively gets less and less. And then, oh, well, you know, us deities, we love to just experience humanity for a breath. But then also the story is like that long. Like, it's so short. And like, it just didn't feel as impactful as the first two. Like, really nailed it. And then progressively was like, eh, and then less, and then less. And it started off so strong that it's so sad that it didn't really stick that far throughout. For me, at least, maybe you'll appreciate them more. I just felt like the first two were really, like, good, and then it was like, they're not bad, they're just not as gripping as the first ones. So anyways, overall, again, if I find this out and about, I would probably grab it. I think it would be a good book to do some shadow work through, but like, I don't know that I would necessarily like go out and like grab it personally. Now, if you are into like the reclaiming, feminist, activist, slam poetry style, you will love this and you should definitely go grab it. If that's not your thing, maybe see if your library has it first and see if it's gonna work for you. Like, I liked it, but like, I know that other people are not going to enjoy it because, again, that slam poetry style is like, it's a lot sometimes. So anyways, I would love to hear your thoughts on this one in the comments down below. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I post every single day, and until next time, thank you so much for watching, and blessed be.